Well, hello everybody and welcome to Buxton in Derbyshire. Yes, we've come to the spa town of Buxton to have a little bit of a wander around. Buxton, as you know, is very famous for Mr. Waters. No, not that miserable old racist from Pink Floyd, but this Mr. Waters. Yes, the water that you get in a bottle that you don't have to worry about, where the utility companies have sort of managed to pay their shareholders and provide you with water that's as brown as muck. Enough of that anyway. We're going to get into the town, have a look round. I'm very interested in what the architecture might bring. You know me and my architecture. We'll have a look. I've only been here once in I don't know how many donkey's years, and I'm very interested in the actual famous Crescent that looks a bit like Bath. Not like a Bath, but Bath down in Somerset and Avon. We'll have a look anyway and see. Let's get cracking. Well, we've come out of the station, which is a little bit difficult to navigate because of all the works that are going on, and we are informed about the Buxton railway station fan window, and it seems dating back to 1863. Yes, it's definitely a fan window, and as we swing round, you can't see it properly yet, but we've got the Palace Hotel. We'll go and have a nosy, and then the rather well-known Pavilion Gardens and the Opera House are up over yonder. So let's go and have a look. And this is the rather famous Buxton Palace Hotel, and it's located quite strangely off Palace Road. Anyway, we won't go there in details. Well, let's go and have a quick flip round the other side and have a look, because really a hotel is a hotel, but this is quite intriguing. And here's a front-on view of the Palace Hotel. And as usual with these sort of places, they waste no time, space, or ugly notices telling you that parking is charged at £5 for 24 hours. Oh look, he's got a Master's in Business Administration. Well done, young man. Very pleasant gardens in the hotel, as you'd expect. Particularly this lovely summer day. Beautiful. Well, there's certainly plenty of seating, I must say. Although I wonder what happens if you choose it for a wedding over a weekend. Do you get all the hoi polloi mixing with your guests? And then the health and leisure with the Duke's Sports Bar. And there it is, quite nice. Yes, very pleasant. Of course, we're bound to get a lot of references to the Duke all over the place, because, and it's not the orange coloured one called David Dickinson, it's the 5th Duke of Devonshire, William Cavendish. He was very famous for putting Buxton on the map. Right, dead end up here for pedestrians. Let's go the alternative route, i.e. a public pathway. As we walk down, I must look down because I don't want to fall off the steps. As we walk down, just to mention a couple of other well-known people from Buxton. I'm not going to do my usual and bore you to death with every single celebrity that comes from here. Aside from everybody else, Robert Stevenson was born and bred and worked here. He was the director and writer of such classics as Mary Poppins and Bedknobs and Broomsticks. So if you want to get really upset with the town, this is the one to do it in. Also, Tim Brooke Taylor, one of the goodies. He was born here, 1940, I think, trusting my memory. And another person of note, well, it might not be of note to some people, is, yes, here we go, Dave Lee Travis. Started his life on Radio Caroline, moved to Radio 1, and then we were attacked by sideburns forever until they went out of fashion. As I mentioned, a lot of Devonshire influences around, referring to the Duke of Devonshire. Very lovely Buxtonish suburb. Well, we're only 2 seconds to a town, it's just across the road, but lovely tree-lined avenue. And this is the Devonshire Home, part of the University of Derby. And a very fine building it is too. The clock tower is obscuring the dome itself, and it's highly welcoming with its sign on the door saying no public admittance beyond this point. Just walking down to try and get a better view of the dome. In fairness to them, if it is a working place, as it says, between Monday and Thursday, it's only fair they don't have we, the great unwashed, wandering around while they're trying to do some work. And that's, I'm afraid, as near as we're going to get domified, but never mind. Nice bit of architecture to keep you going. I'm very disappointed. No litter anywhere. What's wrong with people? You don't use bins. You throw it on the ground, particularly if there's a bin beside where you throw it. And as we try to avoid going the same way we came to get out, not much hope, I've just spied, as you know I like to keep up with it, although it's got no flag flying, but I've just spied the parish church of St. John, which is the town's parish church. I don't know what the health and safety wallers would say, you know, the ones that came after common sense and were imposed on us by those wonderful people in HR. Don't you love them? Sorry, pardon me, I better look out here. I got a bit of a fly in my mouth at the mention of HR. Oh, there it goes again, sorry. Anyway, we're nearly there, but if there was a fire here, this could certainly start one. Well, to put it simply, you'd have to go round, or otherwise jump over the fence. I'm being silly. Let's go and have a look at some of the wonderful things around in this wonderful town of Buxton, in Derbyshire, just to remind you. And that's Graham and Damon's relation Long. Sorry, that's Damon Hill and Graham Hill, his father. Well, I didn't realise I'd end up passing it, so here it is. It's, as you can see from the name on top, the parish church is otherwise called the McSixty. Must be an Elon Musk name. And the nice old clubhouse that's attached to the famous Buxton Opera House, which you can just see over there. We're going to have a look at that in a minute. But I see they have a seniors menu. And they also have a bottomless brunch. Well, I'm afraid I'm having a brunchless bottom this morning, so I'll keep away from food. We've got the Opera House there, which we'll go and investigate in a moment. And here there's the Studio Theatre. And then the gardens, which we'll have a quick nosy at. But as I say, a little bit behind with the schedule because I didn't realise the journey would take so long. Oh, I see some, I suppose you might say, fashionable, long ago acts. Oh, what's happened to Dave D? There's only Dozy, Beaky, Mick and Titch left. And Coldplay. Oh, it's a tribute band. Oh, and the extremely unfunny, racist, bigoted Mark Steele. He's on. Gosh, I wouldn't go to see him if you paid me. It seems to be called the Pavilion Gardens and Arts Centre. Shall we have a quick nosy? Oh, very impressive Art Deco entry. How lovely. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit Art Deco. And there's a little place to sit down and relax, an ice cream parlour. I think it would melt in this weather. And let's go and have a quick look at the garden, shall we? Oh, such lovely stuff on sale. Lovely at the shop. And paintings and things. Well, let's go and have a quick nosy. Gosh, just lovely artworks all made by, well, predominantly local people, I think. Yes, they are, because I can see lots of local views on them. Well, now that's a testament of goodness. Very, very good indeed. And then learned something new today. They do a whole lot of different brewery type things. Although you might need to open your wallet quite wide to buy a can. And we come out of the ice cream parlour that hasn't yet melted in the heat. And oh, just look at this behind. Now, this is what I call a nice little bit of architecture, eh? Look at that. Isn't that glorious? Absolutely, well, I'll let it speak for itself and shut up. There we are. That's Buxton for you. And a little bandstand to grandstand. Gardens are absolutely lovely. Oh, suitably impressed. Hope you are too. It also hasn't escaped my notice that a lot of the people here are post-working age. I've just seen a reopen notice and I hope that's absolutely no connection with Baroness Moon. And with the pavilions behind, there's a view from the bridge. Water drying up with the lack of rain, and a view from the other side of the bridge with the perfunctory traffic cone bottom chucked into the water, as you can see. You see, they do get everywhere. These people, that is, that chuck things around. and then just more gardens. And I can see the Canada geese, ducks in the middle, right slap bang in the middle, where the hands of the clock would be. Another bridge, more water, a little lake, and then, oh, we've even got a little fountain there, and of course the Canada geese. Doing what they do best before they pounce on visitors with food. This is just beautiful. Sadly can't get into the Opera House to have a nosy, but take it from me, it's a very pleasant place. It was one of the venues that I say one of the venues because I've seen him a couple of times. I saw Roy Wood and his big band there when he first started big banding I think 8 or 9 years ago, and a terrific concert it was too. And as we exit the park, you can see it's just lovely old Victorian, Edwardian, whatever, building after building, and the old Hall Hotel just there as we come out. And I just noticed as we turn left, there's the view you'll all be familiar with of the BUXTON Opera House. Oh, so glad it's not today, otherwise I'd end up buying loads of stuff that I don't want, don't need, and can ill afford. Right, the town beckons. I can see loads of pointy signy thingies. Let's go and investigate. To be quite honest, it's very reminiscent of Harrogate in North Yorkshire, just outside Leeds, but on a larger scale. And there's the old Hall Hotel, a very well known local establishment. And as we look at the back of the old Hall Hotel, if we swing round, we can see one of Buxton's most iconic features, the Crescent. As you can see, very Bathian, as in B-A-T-H, and not dip in and have a wash in. And been restored fairly recently, but here we go. They're still doing a little bit of work there. Oh, I've just spied some water that the utility companies can't go and give their management team or their shareholders money from. And it looks quite fresh. The statue there. Then as we turn round, we'll just have a look, and there we are. There's the famous Crescent. Isn't that just wonderful? Yes, I know I get all very freaked out on architecture, but just to be able to catch one of the icons of Derbyshire in particular is wonderful. Right, I was talking to a gentleman, a local gentleman, and this is it. If you stand here all night and maybe be very naughty, that's where that comes from. From that to that. But not necessarily just here. And if you look for it yourself, it's opposite the wonderful Crescent I told you about. Right, let's get a free sample from the manufacturer. Here we go. Oh, it's a bit warm. Mind you, I've got some in my flask. There we are. Free sample of Buxton water in a Buxton container. What more could one want? And just opposite the Crescent is this visitor centre, the Buxton Visitor Centre, and I've just been told by a passing person, well, of course, if it was passing as a person, although it could have been a dog, that St. Anne's well. I didn't know she was ill, but there you go. It seems she's well. I'm just going to leave my car there for a few moments and then go off and get some lunch. Oh, nice little mini rose garden with some, again, people from land down under, men at work. You can hear the crashing and the banging. Still, it's got to be done. Now, to anybody who's been to Budapest, this looks just like little archway area as you walk down to the famous Iron Bridge. Oh, the way my weird mind works. The Cavendish shopping centre up ahead. And then just more details of lovely Buxton and the famous Grove Hotel, which seems to be back in operation. It wasn't last time I was here, but then last time I was here, it was years ago. And just behind the Crescent, this little suite of shops, shopping area. Again, all lovely finished. As you can see, the Buxton baths. Very nice too. We'll just go around the front and have a nosy. Where we've just come from, this is just the detail on the other side with nice covered shops. Oh no, I've just seen something which I have to make a comment on. Now you have to pardon my ignorance, me being a tourist, but with a name like that, it has to be related to Tim Brooke Taylor, who was born here in 1940. Yes, he from the goodies. And you can see from having a quick look up that the original architecture has quite rightly been maintained. Yes, as Sir Freddie would sing, we've quoted him once before, "It's a beautiful day." I'm not going to sing because I can't sing anything like the late Sir Frederick. But we can see that just as you look behind me, it's nice to see the architecture is preserved, but then, oh, sorry for the noise of the bus, I'm not retaking this again. It's nice to see the architecture preserved, and I think the council has a right to do that in a place that is famed for its very architecture. Now this is the Spring Gardens shopping area. As you can see, maintaining all the current architecture. Oh, unfit for drinking. Sounds like some of my former acquaintances there, very unfit to be allowed out drinking. Never mind, we'll go there. And it's still very much like its former self, not a shadow. They've done great preservation work. And up here we can see again some more detail of the lovely architecture. I mean, quite right. Not too sure this iron business is in keeping with the traditional architecture, but there we go. Sacro Lounge. That's connected to the Sacro Iliac next door. It's just a typical pedestrian precinct, but very pleasant. Right, just bear with me. Not going to buy anything, just going to go in there and give them a tenner. I wonder how long till the woke brigade come along and inspect this nice little shop to change its name. And Craghopper, wasn't he in Kung Fu? Nice little detail hidden away on top of Craghoppers. Oh sorry, it's Regatta, beg your pardon. Peak Assets seems to have hit its peak because it's closed. Taking the name, just so anybody wants to know, from the Peak District, which is just up road. Milton's Tap. He's a bit of a miserable poet, wasn't he? I don't know why he's got a tap. He used to make everybody else cry. Well, he certainly did with us at school. And then employing my look-up principle. Nice little bit of detail on this particular building. Otherwise a Boots. And just to gain a little light relief, we have got a carbuncle in the middle of it all. Well, you have to have, don't you? And that's where we've just come from. The main street. Well, main shopping street. And as you come down here, this is the view that people who drive will always get as they come into Buxton. And that is the rather large, multi-arched, you can't really see it now because of the lovely greenery, but the multi-arched viaduct with the extremely expensive car park underneath. Well, at least it was when we came here several years ago. And there's a little bit of a different view of the archway. Sorry, the viaduct with those lovely buildings nesting, although a couple are new, and you can see in the background in between that arch there. Out with the old, in with the new. That's progress, but at least they've kept it somewhat in keeping with the original. Now I've just passed by Queenie's. That's at the near the Arches here in Buxton, and I'm sorry, but she has a sense of humour that is so akin to my own. It's just, you couldn't make it up. It's wonderful. I love that one, but too many people have it. Bang your head here, and all these lovely little ornaments, and the scarecrow, or is that Jeremy Corbyn? No, I think it's a scarecrow. And then, and here we come. And I mean, look at this. Look at this little. Isn't this just? What can I say? Beautiful. But the magic word was mentioned, and I think here's Queenie herself. Or maybe not. Hi. With a pot of tea. Look at that. Oh, what more? Can we have a little wave? Hello. Lovely lady. This, you must come down here, honestly. You really must. Fabulous. Right. I'm going to have my pot of tea and my slice of cake. Do you fancy some? you're not getting any. And this, according to a local, is called Hone Stenge, which I think is lovely. Just suits my sense of humour. I have to be honest, this appeals to me. Oh, Buxton Pudding Emporium. I don't know whether it's for people who are puddings or whether they flog them. And again, plenty of greenery around. Just delightful. And that's next door to the vintage tea rooms. I don't know whether the tea is vintage or the rooms themselves are vintage. Oh, I just noticed over there. Oh, that's interesting there. Stoker of Buxton. I do love the door at number 1 Terrace Road. Isn't that wonderful? This is just a typical view up out of the main part of the town, which is where I just come from, just behind me. There it is. You probably recognize it from me wandering with the Palace Hotel jutting out in the background. But this is just very typically Buxton, as they say. Right, we're crossing the road and are going to ascend the steps that are opposite the Crescent and see what sort of a view we get. It's called the Slopes, which presumably means because they slope. Well, I'm telling you, I'm a genius. And take it from me, they do slope, particularly after a hot day. Well, it's still a hot day. I don't know how many gallons of water, or litres, sorry, new money. And sitting atop the slopes, we have a typical memorial little area that you find in most UK towns. And the view from the slope takes in, as you can see in the background, you've got the pavilion roof and then the Crescent. Just in front of the Crescent, the original, I suppose you might say, spa bath, which is where the free tap Buxton water is located. Sorry, slight error. I just said in the last bit that's where the spa baths. No, it's where the spa water was originally located or is located. This is the spa baths here, which is still part of the Crescent. And there's the actual bathy sort of place. And I presume this in the Old Hall Hotel, which is just above us. This must be the function room. I'm just assuming is behind there. And there we go, the actual real live, well, it's not live, but the actual real plaque commemorating the baths that were founded by the Romans all those years ago. And there you have it, folks, my little trip to Buxton. Not knocking it, but it's very sort of samey around, but it's beautifully samey in as much as it's just chock-a-block full of magnificent architecture. So rather than just labour the same thing over and over again, I'll just say cheerio and thank you very much for watching. See you next time.